I wasn't snooping. That's the worst part. I was looking for a stapler. Ryan's office was always neater than mine. He had that organized, controlled energy that made clients trust him instantly. I'm the creative guy, the mess guy, the visionary, as Ryan liked to call me when he wanted me to feel important. He handled the numbers. He always handled the numbers. The stapler wasn't on his desk. I pulled open the drawer. Inside was the usual pens, paper clips, business cards, and underneath a stack of client folders, a single white envelope. It wasn't sealed. It was just there. I wouldn't have looked if my name hadn't been visible through the paper. I pulled it out. It was a mortgage statement. Property address, 447 Seaside Lane. Monthly payment, $3,200. Borrower, Mark Sullivan. That's me. Co-borrower, Ryan Mitchell. That's him. I had never seen this house. I had never signed papers for this house. I had never heard of Seaside Lane. I sat down in Ryan's chair, the statement in my hand, and tried to find the logical explanation. There had to be one. Ryan and I had been partners for 6 years. We'd started this marketing agency from nothing, working out of my apartment, living on ramen and ambition. We'd built something real. We trusted each other. We were friends. The date on the statement was from last month. The loan originated 4 years ago. 4 years. I opened my phone and pulled up our business banking app. I'd been noticing discrepancies for about a year now. Nothing huge, just weird gaps. Ryan always had an explanation. Tax withholding, quarterly vendor payments, bulk software licenses. I'm the creative guy. I trusted him with the numbers. $3,200 a month, times 12. Times 4 years, $153,600. My hands were shaking. I didn't confront him. Not yet. I'm logical when I'm panicking. I needed more data. I went back to my office and pulled up every financial record I could access. Bank statements, tax returns, client invoices. Our business had been doing well. Really well. We'd grown from 2 guys to a team of 12. Our client roster was solid. Revenue was up year over year. But the profit splits, they never quite made sense. We had a rough quarter. That's what Ryan would say every 3 months, when the numbers came in lower than I expected. Client paid late. We had that server issue. Remember that marketing push? Always an explanation. Always reasonable. Always delivered with that calm, trustworthy smile. I started going through emails, old ones, years old. There were threads I'd forgotten about, conversations with clients I'd never followed up on, projects that had been canceled according to Ryan, but that I now saw had actually been completed. One email from 18 months ago. A client named Janet Morrison. She was thanking Ryan for the excellent work on the rebranding project and confirming that the final payment of $45,000 had been transferred. I pulled up our records. That project was listed as canceled. No final payment, no completion. I searched for Janet Morrison in our system. The client file was marked inactive, non-payment issues. I called her. She picked up on the second ring. Hi, Janet. This is Mark Sullivan from Mitchell & Sullivan Marketing. Oh, Mark, it's been a while. How are you? I'm good. Hey, I'm just doing some records reconciliation. Quick question about that rebranding project from last year. Oh, that was fantastic work. You guys really nailed it. We're still using that branding now. Great. And just to confirm, the final payment went through okay? Of course. I wired it directly to Ryan like he asked. $45,000. Is there a problem? No problem. Just reconciling. Thanks, Janet. I hung up. $45,000. Gone. Ryan came in an hour later, coffee in hand, smiling. He always smiled. Morning, Mark. Ready for the Henderson pitch? I looked at him. This man I'd known for years. We'd celebrated birthdays together. I'd been at his wedding. He'd helped me move twice. Yeah, I said. Ready. We did the pitch. We nailed it. Henderson signed a $60,000 contract. Ryan and I high-fived in the parking lot like we always did. Drinks tonight? He asked. Can't. Got plans. All right, see you tomorrow, partner. I watched him drive away in his Tesla, the one he'd bought last year. Gift from my dad, he'd said. Old man finally came through. I went home and kept digging. It had been systematic, elegant even. Small amounts at first. A few hundred here, 1,000 there. Payments from clients that never made it into the business account. Canceled projects that had actually been completed. Vendor invoices that were slightly inflated, the difference going somewhere. And then bigger moves. The beach house mortgage in my name. A line of credit I'd apparently co-signed for but never seen. A lease on office equipment that didn't exist. He'd forged my signature. That was the part that made my stomach drop. I found scanned documents in an old email thread contracts with my name signed in a handwriting that was close to mine, but not quite. He'd practiced. I spent 3 days going through everything. I didn't sleep. I barely ate. The number kept growing. $340,000. That's what he'd taken. Over 6 years. From both of us from the business, which meant from me. He'd been stealing from himself too, technically, but he'd been stealing from me more. Because he controlled the books. He controlled the narrative. I finally understood why I'd never been able to afford the things I thought I should be able to afford. Why my apartment was still small. Why my car was still old. I thought the business was just slow to pay off. That we were reinvesting. Building. Ryan had been building. Just not what I thought. I called a meeting with our accountant, without telling Ryan. Her name was Lisa. She'd been doing our books for 3 years. She seemed nervous when I walked in alone. Where's Ryan? That's what I wanted to talk to you about. I laid out everything. The mortgage, the missing client payments, the forged signatures. She went pale. Mark? I had no idea. Ryan always handled the documentation. He'd send me the summaries. I'd file the taxes based on what he gave me. So you never saw the original bank statements? No. He said you both preferred he consolidate everything first. Did I ever say that to you? No, Ryan did. I sat back. How much trouble am I in? Legally? If you can prove you didn't know, probably none. But the IRS might have questions. And if there's a criminal case, there will be. I hired a lawyer that afternoon. His name was Peter. He was expensive and he was direct. You have a strong case for fraud and embezzlement. The forged signatures alone are damning. But here's the problem. The money's probably gone. Or hidden. Guys like this, they're smart. They move it, they layer it, they make it hard to trace. So I'm just screwed? Not screwed, but recovery will be slow. We'll file criminal charges, civil suit, the works, but you need to be prepared for this to take years. And you need to be prepared for him to fight back. Fight back how? He'll say you knew, that you were in on it, that this is a partnership dispute, not fraud. He'll muddy the water, make you look complicit. I have proof I didn't know. You have proof you weren't paying attention. That's different. I felt sick. What do I do now? Now? You don't talk to him. You don't warn him. You act normal until we're ready to move. If he knows you know, he'll disappear. And so will any chance of getting your money back. Acting normal was the hardest thing I've ever done. I showed up to work the next day. Ryan was in his office, on a call. He waved at me through the glass. I waved back. We had lunch together. He talked about the Henderson deal, how we should celebrate, maybe take the team out. I agreed. I laughed at his jokes. I felt like I was going to vomit. You okay, man? He asked at one point. You seem off. Just tired. Been grinding on the Morrison project. Morrison? That's been dead for months. Oh, right. I meant the new Morrison. Different client. Same name. Weird coincidence. Yeah, he smiled. That same trustworthy smile. That night, Peter called. We're ready. We file tomorrow morning. Criminal complaint and civil suit. I've also contacted the bank to freeze the business accounts, so he can't move anything last minute. Okay. Mark? Once this starts, your life is going to get ugly. He's your partner, your friend. People are going to take sides. Are you ready? I'm ready. I wasn't ready. The police showed up at the office at 9 a.m. 2 detectives. They asked to speak with Ryan Mitchell. I watched from my office as they walked him out. He looked confused. Then he looked at me. And in that moment, I saw it. The mask dropped. Just for a second. He knew. And he knew that I knew. He didn't say anything. He just looked at me, and then they put him in the car. The office erupted. Our employees were panicking. Clients started calling. I had to send an email explaining that there was an internal accounting issue being resolved and that all projects would continue as planned. 3 employees quit that day. By noon, my phone was ringing nonstop. Ryan's wife called me, screaming, crying, saying I'd destroyed their family. His parents called, his friends. They all thought I was lying, that I was jealous, that I was trying to steal the business. The news spread fast. By that evening, a local business blog had picked up the story. Marketing agency partner, arrested for embezzlement. Allegations of $300 Kelvins plus fraud. My phone didn't stop ringing for 3 days. Ryan made bail within 24 hours. His family had money, real money. That's what I was learning now. The gift Tesla, the vacations he took twice a year, the clothes. It had all been real family money, mixed with my money, making it impossible to tell where one ended and the other began. His lawyer sent me a letter. It was brutal. The letter claimed that I had been fully aware of all financial arrangements, that the beach house was a joint investment property we'd discussed extensively, that I'd signed off on every transaction, that this was a partnership dispute I was trying to weaponize because I was jealous of Ryan's superior business acumen. It included evidence, emails I'd sent saying things like, "Sounds good, whatever you think is best," and "You handle the money stuff, I trust you." They were real emails, but the context was gone. They made it look like I'd been a willing participant. Peter called me. "This is expected. They're building a defense. Don't panic. They're making me look like an idiot." "You are an idiot. That's not the same as being a criminal." "That's not comforting. It's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be honest." Ryan's deposition was scheduled for 3 weeks later. I wasn't allowed to be there, but Peter gave me the summary afterward. "He's good," Peter said. "Calm. Consistent. He's sticking to the story that you both agreed to everything, that the beach house was a joint investment, that the accounting discrepancies were honest mistakes. What about the forged signatures? He claims you gave him permission to sign on your behalf, says you were too busy with client work to handle administrative details. That's insane. That's his defense. And without you explicitly telling him no in writing, it's hard to disprove. So he's going to get away with it? No. We have the client testimonies. We have the financial forensics. We have the pattern. But it's going to be a fight. My deposition was the following week. Ryan's lawyer was vicious. "Mr. Sullivan? Is it true that you frequently delegated financial decisions to Mr. Mitchell?" "Yes, but..." "Yes or no, please." "Yes." "And is it true that you rarely reviewed the financial statements he provided?" "I trusted him." "So you were negligent in your oversight of the business finances?" "I wasn't negligent. I was betrayed." "That's an interesting interpretation. Let's talk about the beach house." It went on for 6 hours. By the end, I felt like I was the one on trial. The worst part wasn't the legal battle. It was the social fallout. Ryan had always been more liked than me. He was charismatic, charming. People loved him. I was the quiet, creative guy in the background. So, when the story broke, a lot of people believed his version. Our shared friends started avoiding me. Invitations dried up. A former client called to cancel their contract, saying they didn't want to be involved in our drama. I went to a coffee shop we used to frequent, and the barista, someone who'd known both of us for years, gave me a look of pure disgust. "I can't believe you'd do that to him," she said. "Do what?" "Try to destroy him because you're jealous." "That's not..." "He told us what really happened. You can't handle that he's better at business than you, so you're making up lies." I left without getting coffee. The criminal trial was set for 8 months out. In the meantime, I had to keep the business running. Half the staff had quit. The clients who remained were nervous. Revenue dropped by 40%. I had to take out a loan just to make payroll. Ryan, meanwhile, seemed to be thriving. He'd started a new agency. Somehow, despite the pending charges, he'd managed to convince investors to fund him. He poached 2 of our remaining employees. His social media was full of inspirational quotes about overcoming adversity and rising above false accusations. He had thousands of supportive comments. I stopped looking. Peter kept telling me to be patient. That justice took time. That we had a strong case. But every day felt like losing. The break came from an unexpected place. One of our old clients, a woman named Sarah, called me out of the blue. "Mark, I need to tell you something. I've been feeling guilty about it for months." "What is it?" "About 2 years ago, Ryan approached me privately. He said the business was struggling and asked if I'd be willing to pay him directly, in cash, for a project. He said it would help with tax optimization." "How much?" $20,000. "Did you get a receipt?" "No, he said it was better to keep it off the books." "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because I saw the news, and I realized, I think he was stealing from you, and I helped him do it." I put her in touch with Peter immediately. She wasn't the only one. Over the next month, 3 more clients came forward with similar stories. Ryan had been running a side operation, taking cash payments for work that was technically being done under our business name, but keeping the money for himself. The prosecution added the new evidence to their case. Peter called me, and for the first time in months, he sounded optimistic. This changes things. These clients had no reason to lie. Their testimony corroborates the pattern of deception. We might actually win this. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Ryan's defense team was good. They painted me as a careless, inattentive partner who was now trying to blame Ryan for my own failures. They brought in character witnesses who talked about what a good guy Ryan was. His wife testified, crying, about how much he loved the business and would never steal, but our side was stronger. The forensic accountant walked the jury through the financial trail, the missing payments, the forged signatures, the systematic pattern of theft over 6 years. The clients testified, Janet Morrison, Sarah, 3 others. They all told the same story. Ryan had approached them privately, asked for cash payments, promised it would be off the books. The handwriting expert showed the forged signatures, and then I testified. Ryan's lawyer tried to break me, tried to make me look like the villain, but I kept my composure. I told the truth. I trusted him, I said. That's not the same as being complicit. The jury deliberated for 2 days. Guilty. Guilty on embezzlement. Guilty on fraud. Guilty on forgery. Ryan's face didn't change when they read the verdict. He just sat there, stone-faced, like he'd expected it. His wife sobbed in the gallery. The judge sentenced him to 6 years in prison and ordered him to pay restitution in the amount of $340,000 plus legal fees. Peter shook my hand. You did it. I didn't feel like I'd won. Collecting the restitution was nearly impossible. Ryan had hidden the money well. The beach house had been sold months before the trial. The proceeds had gone into an offshore account that our lawyers couldn't access. Most of the cash payments had been spent on what no one could prove. I got back $47,000 from a man who'd stolen $340,000. The business never recovered. I shut it down 6 months after the trial. The reputation damage was too severe. Clients didn't want to work with that agency where the partner went to prison. I got a job at another marketing firm. A bigger one. I'm not a partner. I'm just an employee. Ryan served 4 years of his sentence before being released on parole. I heard through mutual friends that he'd moved across the country, started over, new name, new life. I never saw him again. People ask me sometimes if I regret it, regret pursuing the case, ruining his life, destroying the business we'd built together. I don't know how to answer that. I regret trusting him. I regret not paying attention. I regret being the kind of person who believed that friendship and partnership were the same thing. But do I regret holding him accountable? No. He didn't just steal money. He stole 6 years of my life. 6 years of work, of hope, of belief that we were building something together. He looked me in the eye every single day and lied. The money I lost, I can eventually replace. The time, I can't. And the worst part, the part that keeps me up at night, is that I still don't think he believes he did anything wrong. 3 years after the trial, I got an email from Ryan Mitchell. Subject, no subject. Mark, I've been thinking a lot about what happened. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I wanted to reach out. I've had a lot of time to reflect, and I realize now that things got out of hand. I made some decisions that hurt you, and for that, I'm sorry. I hope you're doing well. I really do. We built something great together, even if it ended badly. Take care. R. I stared at that email for an hour. Decisions that hurt you. Not, I stole from you. Not, I betrayed you. Not, I destroyed your life. Decisions that hurt you. Even now, even after everything, he couldn't say it, couldn't admit what he'd actually done. It was all passive language, soft words, a half apology that apologized for nothing. I typed a response. Ryan, you didn't make decisions that hurt me. You systematically stole from me for 6 years. You forged my signature. You lied to my face every single day. You destroyed a business, friendships, and my ability to trust people. That's not decisions that hurt me. That's calculated betrayal. I don't forgive you. I don't wish you well. I just want you to stay out of my life, Mark. I hovered over the send button for 10 minutes. Then I deleted it. I didn't respond at all, because that's what he wanted. A response, a connection, a way back into my life, even just as an enemy, some acknowledgement that he still mattered. I gave him nothing. It's been 5 years now since the verdict. I'm doing okay. Not great, but okay. I'm still at the same marketing firm. I got a promotion last year. I have a small apartment, a decent car, a quiet life. I don't have a business partner. I work alone on my projects. I don't collaborate the way I used to. I don't trust the way I used to. I went on a few dates last year. One of them asked me why I was so guarded, why I always seemed to be waiting for the other shoe to drop. I didn't know how to explain it. How do you tell someone that you spent 6 years of your life working side by side with a person who was robbing you blind? That you celebrated victories with someone who was stealing your share? That you called someone your best friend while they were forging your name on documents that would ruin you? How do you explain that you can't ever fully trust anyone again because the person you trusted most was the person who destroyed you? I didn't answer her. We stopped seeing each other a week later. People think closure is real. That there's a moment when everything makes sense, when you can finally move on, when the wound heals completely. There isn't. I still sometimes dream about the day I found that mortgage statement. In the dream, I close the drawer and walk away. I never look. I never find out. Ryan and I keep working together, and I stay blind, and maybe that's better. But then I wake up, and I remember that ignorance wasn't bliss, it was just expensive. I think about the version of me that existed before I opened that drawer. That guy was happier, more trusting, more hopeful. But that guy was also a fool. I don't know which version is worse. I ran into one of our old employees a few months ago. Her name was Jessica. She'd been one of the ones who quit right after Ryan was arrested. She saw me in a grocery store and hesitated, like she wasn't sure whether to approach. Finally, she walked over. Mark, hey. Hey Jess, how are you? I'm okay. You? Good. I'm at a tech startup now. It's different. We stood there awkwardly for a moment. Look, she said finally, I owe you an apology. I didn't believe you at first. When the news broke, I don't know what I thought. That you were exaggerating or it was a misunderstanding or something. Ryan was always so convincing. I know. But after the trial, after everything came out, I felt like an idiot. I'm sorry I doubted you. It's okay. A lot of people did. It's not okay. You were going through hell, and instead of supporting you, I just left. That wasn't fair. I shrugged. You didn't know the full story. Nobody did. Still, I'm sorry. We exchanged numbers, promised to get coffee sometime. We never did. Sometimes, late at night, I wonder if Ryan ever thinks about me. If he ever lies awake and thinks about what he did, if he feels guilt or regret or anything at all, or if he just thinks he was unlucky, that he got caught when he should have gotten away with it, that I was the villain for ruining his perfect crime. I'll never know, and maybe that's the real punishment, not knowing, never getting to hear him actually admit what he did and why, living with the permanent question mark. I've built a new life. It's smaller than the one I had before, but it's mine, really mine. I know exactly where every dollar goes. I make my own decisions. I don't have a partner. I don't have a friend I'd trust with my financial future. I don't think I ever will again. Some people say that's sad, that I'm letting Ryan win by staying closed off. But I don't see it that way. I see it as learning, as adaptation. You touch a hot stove once, you learn not to touch it again. You trust the wrong person once, you learn to be more careful. That's not bitterness. That's just reality. Ryan is a ghost now. He doesn't haunt me in the dramatic sense. I don't see his face in crowds or jump at shadows, but he's there, in the small moments. When I meet someone new and they ask about my past business, and I have to decide whether to tell the truth or give a sanitized version. When I see a Tesla on the road and feel a spike of irrational anger. When someone says, trust me, and I have to fight the urge to walk away immediately. He's the reason I double-check every contract, every email, every financial statement. He's the reason I don't believe in partnerships anymore. He's the ghost I'll never be able to fully exorcise. I did the math once, late at night, when I couldn't sleep. If Ryan had been honest, if we'd split everything fairly, if he hadn't stolen a dime, I'd have an extra $340,000 right now, plus the income from the business that could have kept growing, plus the relationships I lost, plus the time I spent in legal battles instead of building something new. Conservatively, he cost me over $500,000 in 3 years of my life. But more than that, he cost me the ability to believe that people are fundamentally good. That friends don't betray friends. That you can build something with someone and trust that you're both working toward the same goal. Those are the losses that don't show up on a balance sheet. Those are the ones that never get repaid. I've accepted it now, mostly. The money is gone. The business is gone. The friendship was never real to begin with. I'm not the same person I was 6 years ago, and I'll never be that person again. But I'm also not the broken, angry person I was right after the trial. I'm somewhere in between. Scarred but functional, wary but not paralyzed, still here, If there's anything positive that came from all of this, it's that I know myself better now. I know I'm the kind of person who will always want to see the best in people, who will always want to trust, to believe, to build something with others. And I know that's both my greatest strength and my greatest weakness. I can't change who I am, but I can be smarter about who I let into my life. This story doesn't have a satisfying ending. Ryan didn't go to prison for life. I didn't get my money back. The business didn't rise from the ashes. Sometimes the bad guy gets 4 years in parole. Sometimes you get back 14 cents on the dollar. Sometimes what you built just ends, and you have to be okay with that. You have to wake up, go to work, pay your bills, and build a smaller, safer life. You have to accept that justice doesn't always feel like justice. That closure is a myth. That some wounds don't heal, they just become part of who you are. I found a receipt in my business partner's desk for a beach house I've never heard of. We'd been splitting profits 50/50 for 6 years. The mortgage payments matched exactly half of what had been missing from our quarterly reports. My name was on the loan. That was 5 years ago. I'm still not over it, but I'm still here. And some days, that feels like enough.